Looking back, he always had a plan. My old man.
Hey, welcome to another Midweek devotion. So what I wanted to talk about today was something that happened to me, not this weekend, but the weekend before. So I was sitting watching the Packer game, and completely full confession, I could not believe the things that I was seeing. They were winning. Not just winning, they were absolutely destroying the Dallas Cowboys. So I was jumping up and down. I was celebrating with my son. My wife was sitting there just in amazement, and there was still a part of me thought that things were going to go wrong, but it just kept going well. And then I said it. I said, you know what? This is the most unbelievable Packer result that I've ever seen. The most unexpected thing was happening. And then it hit me. It hit me hard. It actually took my breath away. My eyes welled up and I started to cry. You might ask, why? Were you really crying about a football game? No, I actually wasn't. I got hit with something I'd like to call the grief gut punch. See, in that moment, when I was seeing that unbelievable thing on TV, I wanted to tell someone. And the person I wanted to tell was my dad. See, the story of my dad is he's been gone now 7 years next month. He passed away right the same week that my daughter was actually born. And what I was experiencing was that grief gut punch. See, I'm at the point of grieving with my dad that a lot of times I expect things to come up. I know it's going to be difficult around Father's Day and around his birthday and around the time he's passed. And the most difficult time of year for me and grieving my father is actually the start of the football season. Week 1 of the NFL season is difficult because that's the time I think about him the most. That's the time I want to pick up my phone and give him a call and be like, hey, Dad, how do you think the season's going to go? What do you think's going to happen? But over the years, as I've gotten accustomed to some things, I've also been very surprised other times. And I've got this grief gut punch that has left me reeling. One time it actually happened when I was on my way up to church. It was a Wednesday night. I was going to be preaching, and I was 2 blocks away from the church when a new song came on by the Zac Brown Band. That was actually the song I put in the opening today. And it was titled My Old Man, which of course is what I would always call my dad when I gave him a call. Hey, how you doing, old man? And it hit me. I actually had to stop my car, pull over, and cry. I tried to compose myself because, of course, I had to preach a sermon in 30 minutes. I don't know if that sermon was as well received. I'm guessing it went okay, thanks to God, but it was that difficult moment. So maybe you're struggling with that. Maybe as we're here in January and every day seems like the same, you got grief gut punched. So what have I learned over these years about grief? Well, the number one thing I've learned about grief is if you got to talk about it, talk about it. Find someone to share it with. You cannot handle everything yourself. And that might mean praying to God about it. That might mean asking God to give you some help to get through it, but it might also mean actually getting some help. See, after my dad passed a number of months later, I actually had to go to some counseling. I was really mad. How could my 56-year-old dad pass away? Yes, he smoked, but everyone smoked, and this person smoked, and they were fine. I was angry. I didn't really realize how angry I was until I was able to work some of that out in counseling. Now, the other option, being able to share it, is finding someone else to talk to, like perhaps a grief group. Our church has a grief group that actually meets every Monday at 4:30. So if you're struggling, message us as a church. We would love to be able to share that resource with you because I know it's been very helpful for people here. Now, the other ways that I've learned to cope with this is every once in a while, I just got to go down the deep hole. And my wife actually has seen this in the years leading or past since my dad's passed, is once in a while I just need to look at pictures of him. I need to look at videos and I need to have a good cry. I need to just get in that moment and watch my dad reading stories to my kids and holding them, and it totally clears out the sinuses. It never fails. And the third thing I've learned that always comforts me is the only thing that really gives us comfort as believers in times of grief, and that's Christ. That's believing in his death and resurrection, in that he did this so that we also would experience that someday. Now, I don't buy in, and I don't want to get into the whole looking down on me from heaven, because I don't think my dad's doing that. I think he's enjoying himself. I think he's in the presence of God, and I fully believe he's in that better place. But I also know, and something I've learned, is that my dad continues to live. Yes, he's living with his Lord, but there's also little pieces of him that live in me, that live in my kids, that live in the other people he's related to. Sure, his time here on earth is done, but the lessons he's taught, those continue to move on. The stories, the funny things I remember about him, the laughs that I sometimes just find myself partaking in when I think about back through a memory. See, this is the truth about grief, is that it's tough. And there are going to be times where you get gut punched and you need to figure out how you get through that. Well, it's different for everyone. But I pray in those moments that you do have someone to comfort you, someone to help you, that you feel that comfort also from God, and you know that you're not alone. See, life on this earth is difficult, and the longer you're here, the more you're going to lose loved ones. And in those times, I just hope that you'll be comforted in that sure and certain hope that we have in Christ to get through even the worst gut punches. So, I pray that you have a very blessed day, and if you're struggling with grief, get help. Ask someone for help. Talk to someone, because you're going to get through this with the help of God, with the help